Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is Isaac and today I want to show you a sneak peek of the new Paralives early access. And today I also wanted to do a challenge that I saw the Simsy do in Sims 4, but I wanted to actually do it in Paralives because I think the build mode is better. Now Paralives, in case you don't know, is a life sim game that came out as of recording 2 days ago into early access on the 25th of May, and I love it so far. I bought it the same day, and in about 48 hours, I've probably sunk about 30 of them into this game. I haven't slept well. So the challenge today is I am going to try to recreate a floor plan, specifically this one, Cottage House Plan 5132179 from houseplans.com, into an actual house in Paralives. Now, I wanted to do this in Paralives because it actually has measurements. In The Sims, you have the units of the walls and whatnot, but in Paralives, you actually have feet, meters, bananas, Texases, yeah, actual things they have. And because of that, you should theoretically be able to take a real floor plan and make it meticulously enough to be identical in Paralives. Now, I didn't quite achieve identicality, but I did have fun doing it, and I think it looks incredibly similar in the end, so stay tuned. And in case you didn't notice, this is actually my first ever YouTube video. I've always wanted to make videos, but I never really knew exactly what to do, and I think Paralives is so fun that I just want to let people know about it and see some gameplay and let them decide whether or not they like it. That being said, if you do like this and you want to see more Paralives content or other content in general from me, I make art, I play games. If you want any of that, or a Let's Play, for example, or more buildings in Paralives, let me know in the comments. You can leave a like if you like this, and you can subscribe if you're interested to see more. All right, see, I'm officially a YouTuber. I said please like and subscribe. One of the reasons I picked this house is because, number one, I thought it was really cute. It's a little yellow cottage, adorable. The second one is that it has a bunch of curved, not necessarily curved, angled walls throughout it. Like this walkway here actually has a little hallway that has 5 technically doors, 4 doors and a entryway that isn't a door, as well as a bookcase. And I thought that it looked perfect to try out the new easier angle aspect that Paralives has. In The Sims 4, you could have angled walls, and I'll really be comparing this to The Sims 4 a lot. That isn't necessarily because it is, Sims 4 versus Paralives. It's not. It's just another life simulation game, but I play Sims 4. I used to play Sims 4 a lot, and so that's really where most of my knowledge comes from. There are other life simulation games. I love The Sims 3 as well, and there's Inzoi, which I never really played, but there are tons of life simulators out there, but Sims 4 is the one I'll probably compare it to the most. In Sims 4's build mode, you can technically use angled walls, place doors and windows on them, which you can't actually do at the moment because, again, early access in Paralives. But you can place them perfectly, like top left of a unit to the bottom right of a unit. But you really couldn't tilt them inwards any more than that unless it was part of a very long wall that had it start in the top corner of one and end in the bottom corner of another, which is something you can do in Paralives, which I think makes the building experience, and especially keeping it realistic, so much better. Now, Paralives does have a lot of bugs and glitches so far still. Again, early access, hopefully no one is expecting it to be a perfectly made miraculous game, but it is a really good game, really good build mode, really good live mode, with a bunch of bugs at the moment, which the team, I'm sure, is working hard to get them fixed. One of the bugs is that the rooms can sometimes have a hard time differentiating from one another. And that means, like, even if there's walls that separate each individual room, sometimes the game won't recognize those walls as actually being separators. And normally you would think that probably isn't the end of the world. That probably doesn't affect much. But in Paralives, you can't lay down wallpaper and floor tiles like you can in like Sims 4, where you get to decide that this exact square is this one and this exact wall is this one. You have to either work on an entire wall basis or an entire room basis. And for floor tiles, you might have to work only on a whole room basis. I'm not yeah, I think so. Anyway, and so you might think to yourself, okay, well, maybe a little annoying, but that's fine, which it is. But the big problem comes, which you'll see in a while, whenever it doesn't recognize that one room is different from another. So you try to put linoleum in the bathroom, and then suddenly the whole left side of the house is covered in linoleum, and it is because one of the walls somewhere has glitched or maybe laid on itself or on a different wall, and the game isn't right now recognizing that they're different, which you'll see my struggles with that in a bit. Right now, I'm focusing on the little things that are drawn on the actual floor plan itself. I took some really intense notes on how they looked. Like, for example, in the master ensuite bathroom, there is a sink that is part of a cabinet, but in the bathroom in bedroom number 4, which is the bottom left one, there is a sink that looks like it is just a standing sink. So I really wanted to get things like that right. And you'll see throughout the thing, I think I did get it pretty good, especially in places like the kitchen and the bathrooms themselves. I wanted the shelves that were on the floor plans to be accurate. So I actually went through with a shelf and made sure that it aligned exactly where it would. I even added the little shoe rack in the master closet. And I had a really fun time adding all of these. Now, you'll notice, even though I'm adding things like the plumbing, and later on I'll really fill out the kitchen as it's written down on the floor plan itself, I'm only doing it up to what the floor plan itself has. I'm not actually furnishing this house. But if you guys are interested, I would love to have a new video where I go about furnishing this house. And if you're interested in that, please leave a comment. Subscribe if you want to see more of my stuff. This is a funny thing, actually. In the washing room, I end up not finding a water heater. There isn't one yet. And so that big tank there that is supposed to be a water heating tank is actually a really big glass jar of milk that, again, I was able to just scale up because Paralives has a built-in scale function that is not a cheat. It's actually just naturally part of their game. They're naturally part of their build mode, where you will see every now and then when that 3D cursor comes out that has all the different axes on them, you're able to just squash and stretch and move. You can hold shift and just lift an item up naturally, even without turning on the advanced movement tools. Now, I'm very proud of this kitchen. I love how many different cabinet options there are. There's different types of drawers. There's like silverware pull-out drawers, and there's like you would open up beneath a sink type of drawers. I really like how they cooperate with some of the appliances. Like the washing machine just slips right in like you'd expect it to. I think I did really well on the type of stove and the fridge that they show in the actual plan itself. And at this point, I was very happy that I picked a plan that literally like has so much detail in it. They have, even where the island is, they have exactly where the eating area, the eating bar off the island is, and where the long cabinets are across from it. And so I was able to get really close to it. And right here, there's bookshelves in this little walkway. Again, if you like this kind of challenge, I would recommend going and checking out Little Simsy's video. She did it in The Sims 4, and I think she did an amazing job, especially because The Sims 4 really, in my opinion, doesn't have as good of a build mode. There are certainly things in Paralives that are better than The Sims 4, like the color picking wheels. You can pick whatever color you want from pre-made swatches, or literally just have unlimited access to a color wheel so that you can very fine tune, and a hex editor actually. So if you have like a hex code that you want specifically that you found online, you can just type it in and it'll give you that exact color. Now you're about to see me struggle a lot. Earlier, I mentioned that I had trouble with the walls differentiating between what rooms are what, and it really wasn't clear to me that this was an issue yet, and it didn't really pose a problem until I start to come in here after I add all these little details here and there, and I try to change up the tile on the floor. Now, at this point, I'm really happy with how the layout looks. I think I've gotten it really, really good. Uh, I still have a few things to do here and there. I add the cabinets for the sink in the ensuite, and I make sure that it matches up with the actual floor plan itself. And then before I tackle the outside, I just wanted to add a little difference on the inside on the floors. And all hell breaks loose. At this point, I actually realized that I stretched the building out a little too much. Earlier, I had it too flat, and so I had to stretch it out to fit more and more. And you can see I had the rooms themselves, both from the left and right and the back and front, a little too squished. These three rooms here, this guest bedroom, this guest bathroom, and this other guest bedroom, started to give me a little grief because the guest bathroom and the guest bedroom refused to recognize each other as separate rooms. And I demolished the walls and it fixed it. And I thought, oh, okay, well, glad that worked. Then I went up, and the top floor, the guest bed on top of that, the master ensuite, and the master bedroom itself decided that they were one room.
A few moments later.
Eventually, I got the master bedroom to act as its own. But these two refused to separate. At all.
1 hour later.
Genuinely, it took me an hour and a half to fix these two rooms. And then another hour.
3 hours later.
Finally, I gave up. I just gave up. I decided, you know what, the flooring is going to be the same in the master ensuite and in this guest bedroom. I'll just make them both carpet, and we'll be happy in the end. And no one will really care except me, and I won't care that much. And I thought that that was done, cut, dry, over. And at this point, I'm really happy still with the layout. And so I think, you know what? I've done good. I'll just keep going. It came back. I tried to put on wallpaper and it came back. I put tile in the bathroom and it stretched into the room beside it. And so I deleted the wall in the room beside it. And it didn't fix it. And so I deleted the wall in the room beside that, and it didn't fix it. This went on for probably, I would say, an additional hour of me just futzing like this.
5 hours later.
It's been about probably 2.5 hours at this point of me working on this house, and a good chunk of it has just been trying to iron out that wall and floor bug. Thankfully, at this point, I figure it out. I somehow, somewhere, had several walls that were laying on top of each other, and that really confused the game. I'm sure that it has something to do with letting you place walls and whatever, and really what it is that, again, this is an early access game. Bugs happen. But, oh boy, that annoyed me. Oh boy, that annoyed me. Whatever. It's done. I figured it out. If you have a similar problem, just kind of delete walls until you figure out which one is wrong. Oh, look, here it is again. I'm not even sure really what went wrong here, but guess what? I deleted walls, and the problem fixed itself. Woohoo! I wanted this to be as similar, as spot on as I could to the actual floor plan. So I even went through and made sure that the doors were opening the correct way and that the handles were on the right side. And then after I was done with most of that, I ended up deciding it was time to work on the outside. And so I found this really nice yellow siding, and I actually desaturated it a little to make it more like the original images rendering. And I then came across my second folly, which is roofs. Roofs are not my friend in this game, unfortunately. And this is one of those biggest early access things that even says so on the screen, that there isn't currently really a grid for them. And they're a little finicky, and they have problems here and there. I'm used to The Sims 4 roofs, but one major difference between the two is that in The Sims 4, if you put down a roof, it will, even if it goes through like a wall into a living area or a floor, it will disappear behind there. It's not how it works here. If you have a roof, it will go through a wall and keep going through the wall. And even if it's into the floor, like the second floor, it will still exist there. You'll be able to see it. It'll be a little annoying. And so I was actually going to build a 2-story house originally that had some rooms up on the second floor and some roofing, and I had to scrap the idea and went for this one floor instead. Now, I end up actually, I think, making the roof really, really pretty decent, which I am so proud of myself because, again, this took 30 minutes maybe, and I really thought that I was going to have to give up at this point, but I didn't. I powered through and got it good. One other issue with roofs, though, that you'll see in a minute is windows. Now, if you remember back on the original image that I showed that had the rendering, there are 2 windows that are like attic windows, one in each triangle on the front of the house. And I thought they looked really cute, and it was part of the reason I chose this cottage. But at the current time, again, 2 days after the early access is released, you can't actually place windows on the attics, but on the upper walls of roofs. So I had to get crafty. And I did actually come up with a second way to get them up there. And that was with the built-in translation tool. I was able to take a window, place it on the first floor, and then stretch the top all the way up and then stretch the bottom up with it to make it look proportional again, which you'll see very soon. Make it look proportional with it. And then I can actually stretch it towards me and technically make it wider. And I was able to have it like jut out of the actual wall of the house itself while being up there. And technically, I think in the game, it's considering it as being on the first floor, but it's all the way up there and it's part of the wall and it's jutting out a little. And the window pane itself is on the window. And so you can actually still see the window pane, but it doesn't cut out of here. This is what I'm talking about. You can still see the window pane, but it doesn't actually cut out of the building itself. So I had to get crafty. In the render, it's probably just sheen and reflection, but it looks like there is a white curtain. So I decided I should add like something flat and white in there. And so I looked for something pure white, which, because I'm a dummy, I was like, oh, a painting. So I tried to find a pure white painting. I don't succeed. Thinking back to it, I probably could have just uploaded a white photo. Anyway, I end up finding a wonderful curtain that works perfectly, and I'm able to push it inside between the window pane itself and the siding of the house, so that you still see the window pane and you don't see any of the house's siding. And then I do the same trick over here with this main window. I use a different type of window because it's different in the reference photo. But I use the same curtain trick. I just make it a little grayer because it looks a little grayer in the reference. And if you notice in the reference image, there are a couple types of fencing, this kind of white picket around the front of it. And then you see this more sturdy wooden fence that I am assuming encompasses the backyard. And one of the things I like about their landscaping tools is that there are a bunch of three-dimensional landscaping tools. I still remember back in the day when, like, in the Sims games, you would paint flat 2D textures, which there are flat 2D textures under landscaping as well. But there are like 2D textures with 3D flowers now that you can just paint on if you want, say, dandelions over here, or little mini sunflowers over here, or little blue flowers over here. You can see on my left, you can just and then done. And a bunch of flowers that are really pretty, pinks and reds, and I think I see pink roses in there, and topiaries all over the place. And so I go into the flower section and I find this topiary, but it looks like a Christmas tree basically, and I decide immediately, no, I want a different one. And I find this tree and I'm able to, again, just shrink it down without cheats. And I'm actually able to change the color a little too, to darken it. And I go about and angle it up with what I think is right. The reference photo is at an angle, so I can't really see perfectly. But I'm pretty sure that's how they're lined up. And then I go ahead and plant in the other shrubs and flowers to make the front yard look pretty. I built this on an odd angle, and I had to, because when I first made this, I ended up having to remake it because I made it the first time and I failed because it was too small a lot. And so I had to make it on a lot that was much bigger. I chose this lot. And when I got here, I actually realized in the very beginning that you cannot rotate the grid on the lot itself. It is fixed at this diagonal position, which is really strange in my mind, but I'm sure that that's something that the devs will get to eventually. I think it would be a really good idea to allow the players to kind of draw a line and allow the game to see the line itself and make a grid based off the direction that that line is in, so that you aren't just married to one due north and south or east and west grid, but that you can actually tweak it, not once even, but a few times. Overall, I'm really happy with how this build came out. I think I was able to follow this floor plan amazingly, and I actually think that this might be a viable option for people who want to build but don't really know what to build at the moment. Just go online. Like I said, this was Cottage House Plan 513-2179 on houseplans.com, which I believe is the same website that Lil Simsy used for her challenge. You should check out her video. And if you liked this, please do leave a comment. and subscribe if you want to see more like this. And don't be afraid to tell me if you want to see other builds like this. If you have a house plan maybe that you would recommend, please put down what the name of it is in the comments. Or if you want to see me have a full let's play of this and have actual challenges, I would love to. Just let me know if you're interested. Thank you for checking out my video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.